Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm going to be talking to you about beginning warm-ups for the cello. Obviously I'm on a cello. I'm not exactly a cellist. I know what to do, and you'll hear me adjusting a lot just because my hand's used to a violin. But I have concepts wrapped around my head, and what I'll be able to help you do is to know how to practice and how to think through these, okay? Through these warm-ups. And we'll do a little bit of practicing, and I'll practice right along with you because it is not my primary instrument. I love the cello though. It makes such a great sound, and it is fun to play a lot. So the warm-ups, it begins with son filet, and it's exactly like the other exercise with son filet. You can watch that, it'll be the same thing. But this just idea of a thread of sound and learning how to make a really good sound without all that kind of stuff, okay? Chromatics for you on your cello hand, when you play with a normal hand like this, normal meaning that you don't do any extensions, you are doing a minor third. So E to F is a half step, F to F sharp is a half step, F sharp to G is a half step, E to G is what's called a minor third, because there's 1, 2, 3 half steps in that hand. And so when you have to play things like G sharp and D sharp and some of these other notes that we're going to get to in a bit, you have to do an extension. I'm going to talk to you about that. But right now, chromatics. I don't make you do extensions on chromatics, but you do need to do a little bit of shifting. So I think you're used to that. So here's E, and then F, and then F sharp, right? And then G. Now look what you got to do. You got to get yourself up to an A sharp, but you got to be able to play G sharp too. Sorry, I'm scooting my stand so I don't kick it. So do you see the 3 above the F sharp, and then do you see the -1 above the G? What I'm having you do is think ahead. All good string players think ahead when it comes to fingering. So rather than a 4, I want you to put your 1 right there, G. There's my G. And then after that is going to be G sharp. And then A. Now, did you hear me be a little bit sharp? If you are playing with a really good G and a really good A, then you've got 2 wiggle strings. You need to look at wiggle strings or sympathetic vibrations, but that's how you know that you're in third position. Your first finger is a wiggle string, G, and your third finger needs to know where to go so it can make your open A wiggle. And you'll notice it's a little bit squished from first position, just a smidge. Okay, so there's G, G sharp, A sharp, because that's where you got to get to, all the way up to an A sharp. Then come back down for A, and then G, G sharp, then G, then F sharp, and then F, and then E. Okay, my shift was a little out of tune, but that's what you need to do. So to review that, E, F, F sharp, shift, G, okay, G sharp, A sharp. Then you come down, A, right, G sharp, G, shift, F sharp, F, E, and then it ends on D, on E's there, okay? All right, so that's really not what this is all about. I just wanted to intro that a little bit. It's really about doing these hand frames. Now, sometimes we do things for our friends because you know your friends really need them. And when it comes to these hand frames, your violin and viola friends absolutely need this. This is like gold to them. It's really, really important. It's good for you, but it breaks down a little bit in terms of like, in terms of the value that you're going to get out of it. Although it's still good for you. So, and you'll notice I had to put in some rests because it gets a little bit, this first hand frame, all whole steps, can be a little bit confusing and a little bit too much for cellos. Even if you're doing really well, it was a little bit silly, so let them do what they need to do, and then you can join back up, okay? So what do you do on the whole step hand frame? And it is, you're going to practice a lot of extensions. Now I'll tell you this. depending on when your teacher has passed these out and you're working on them, maybe you're not doing extensions yet. And if that's the case, then I would just find, what can you do? Well, you can play E, you can play F sharp, and you could just wait. And then you can play B, and you can play C sharp, and then just wait till it comes back around. Then you got F sharp, E on the end, okay? And then the next one, you can play E, you can play F sharp, but G sharp, you have to use an extension. If you don't know what that is, then just wait. Then you play A, and then B, and then C sharp, and then just wait on the others. All right? And it's perfectly fine. And you'll notice by the time you get down to the half step, whole step, you can play all of that, even if it has a little shift, because maybe you've already started working on shifts. But regardless, here's the point. Contribute when you can. Contribute when you can. Just don't sit there and stare at the wall and say, okay. Contribute when you can. That's all. No big deal. And when your skills get a little bit more, you'll say, you know what, I'm ready to tackle this, to understand what this is. Okay? Now, for the rest of you, you know what extensions are. You've been working on them. So, an extension is when I need to play a major third. So remember, this is a minor third. Has 1, 2, 3 half steps. But I need to play a major third because I need to get up to a G sharp, let's say. All right? And so what I'm going to do is add a half step between 1 and 2, and that becomes a whole step. And then it's half step, half step. So you notice whole step, whole step, whole step here. I've got E. I have to do an extension for F sharp so that I can play the G sharp. All right? So E, F sharp. Now what is that? Well, an extension is to put my 2 or my 3 normally is. And boy, I take my first finger and I really point. Another thing that helps is to take my elbow and just scooch it forward just a little bit. Okay? And then I'm ready for G sharp. And I love this song. And there's hot cross buns. And that way you know you're in tune. It's very, very helpful. Okay? Another thing to know that you're in tune, you know where E is. Even though G natural is not part of the key, that is a wiggle string. So your third finger should be on a G. That way, I've got G sharp, F sharp, E. G sharp, F sharp, E. And I realized earlier I was a little bit flat. Told you I'm not a cellist. But that will help me know, ooh, you are really playing an extension. It's a pretty big hand, isn't it? So that's what whole step is. E, F sharp, G sharp, and then you rest. And then you string cross B, C sharp, and D sharp. And then you rest. Your other friends have notes. And then the third measure is a rest, and then you've got D sharp, C sharp, and then B, rest, you string cross, G sharp, F sharp, E. Okay? So that's the whole step. My hand, the entire time, is playing an extension. Okay? The whole step, half step, I have to do a little bit of shift, and I have to do some extensions. So in some ways, this one's harder than the first one. So what do I have to do? Well, there's E. There's my F sharp, G sharp, A, B. Now, I'm going to ask you to get up to E, which means I need to shift to C sharp. There's that third finger. And then D sharp, and then E. So when I shift, I go B, C sharp, D sharp, E. And then B, A, G sharp, F sharp, E. Now that was really out of tune. I'm going to try that again. Here we go. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and then E. shift, A, G sharp, F sharp, and then E. And you might say, that sounded like a scale. You're right. That was a scale. It was an E major scale. F sharp, G sharp, sorry, I'll try it again. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Those are all sharps that I played. And yes, that was an E major scale. So an extension, and then I had to shift. You will always know my shifts. Look at the second measure. You will always know my shifts because I will show you the old finger, which is the B, and then I'll show you a -1 for the shift, which is the new finger. So old finger and then dash new finger. Always, always. Okay? And that way you know that's where you need to go. And by the way, it helps to know that that is second position. I didn't put that in your music, but why don't you pick up a pencil and do it right now. You did that, right? Oops, there's your pencil. I hear it. You did that, right? Okay. All right. Whole step, half. Now they get easier, actually. The next one is whole step, half, whole step. E, F sharp, G. Now what's cool here is you don't have to play G sharp. It's G. And so my hand is that minor third hand. That's the first one you learn, the minor third hand. E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D, E. D is a wiggle string. That way I know I'm in tune. By the way, in first position, that's a wiggle string too. That's how I know I'm really, really, really in tune, right? Okay, so this one involves second position as well. I went B to C sharp to D to E. B to C sharp, D to E. But it stayed in a minor third hand because C sharp to E is a minor third. Okay, cool. And then the last one, half step, whole step, whole step. E, F, G, A, B. Now I have C and shift on the D. How do I know I'm in tune? Wiggle string. D, E, E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, I lied to you, F natural, E, and D. Alright, and so that hand involves second position as well. Boy, my brain. That one involved third position because I'm taking my first finger and putting it on a D. Okay, that's third position. So my first finger playing some sort of a D is third, some sort of a C is second, and of course some sort of a B is first. So I had to go into third position there. Now you might be thinking, why didn't I shift to the C and then did an extension D and extension E? And the answer is, sure, you can do that. Why not? B, C natural, D, you were working on extensions earlier, then E, E, D, C, shift to B, A. And you know what? I'm so proud of you that you thought of that, because here's the thing. Fingerings are very personal. Some people like doing it one way and other people like doing it another way, and it actually doesn't matter. Actually, you should be able to do both. And if you're getting pretty good at this and you'd like to practice, then how about this? One day when you go through warm-ups, you do third position, D and then E. And then you come down, D and then the next day you do second position and you do the extension. Do them both. It's really, really good for you to do both. Okay? All right. I think we're ready to practice. These are going to be nice and slow. I'm going to start with chromatics. Here we go, chromatics, and I'm going to go right through all of the hand frames. Okay, that was really out of tune the very first time, so I'm going to try this again. I told you, just like you, I'm practicing, but I also don't want it to be so bad that you can't even hear it. We'll try this again. Ready, chromatics. Ready, go, and E, and F. F sharp, Here's G natural. Whole step, whole step, whole step. Quarter notes. Rest and rest. Rest, go down here. Rest, string crust. Next one. Whole step. Next one, whole step, half step, whole step. Half step, whole step, whole step. Okay, I think that's it. Really careful practice was really great about these videos, as you can watch it again, and in the show notes you can just go straight to the practice. Unless you need me to explain some of that again, then just watch the whole thing again, okay? All right, I will see you at the next video.